Hey, and welcome back to the Reactors Summit. This is going to be a fun one today. I've got a bunch of great people, but someone you haven't seen on Tape 3 for ages. He's the person that started the Reactors Summit. Jacob, how's it going?
Good. Yeah. It's good to be back on here. I haven't been on this show in years, so it's good to be back.
What? I think I'm back.
There we go. Okay. Is it me? Yeah. Is it you? What's going on?
But next up, I've got Amaru. Amaru, how are you feeling?
First day back at work after this weekend. I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good. So, ready to go.
And next up, we've got Christina. Christina, how's it going?
I'm feeling the same as Rue. I am tired. Friday was a late night, and I feel like I don't really recall much of it. Like it was like just the adrenaline and the craziness of it. Like I woke up Saturday morning like, what happened? Like honestly, watching the reaction videos we posted, I was like, I don't remember a lot of this. So, I'm glad it was recorded.
And last one not least, but Anthony, how are you feeling?
I'm good. This was my last day of work, so now I get to relax. But thanks to these wonderful people, I was up till like 1 o'clock on Saturday when I had to go to work, or Friday, and I had to go to work the next morning. So that was awesome. So I am also tired, but I'm feeling better now because I can sleep in tomorrow. So I'm excited.
Yes. With that being said, we're going to be talking about the draft and what teams have formed. But first of all, one of the most thing I didn't expect was Amaru was picked second in the draft. But Amaru, how are you feeling after all that? Is like, do you feel all the pressure now?
No, I do not feel the pressure. That's one thing I'm trying to not feel. I know my skills. I know what I can do. I'm just hoping I don't get put up against somebody that is like very, very good, where it's like, yo, you put me in a situation where like I say I'm good, but I'm going up against what's the best right away. What you doing to me? I was not expecting that though, in any way, shape, or form. Not at that spot. So I am still like just randomly saying, did that happened, right? Like, yeah, that happened, right? Okay.
I left. So like, I actually have words for Sam of like, so the Fan League 4, obviously, we packaged ourselves. Did Sam talk to any of us?
So I don't believe Sam talked to anybody, and I understand why. But right. So this is another reason why I was like, okay, you know what? Kaiser's crazy. So right. I've been hearing all this buzz. If he decides to go me over somebody, that's because he's absolutely insane. Yes, I would be a little less surprised. The second Sam started talking and he said Ken Griffey Jr., I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna zone out now because we're not. And then motherfucker went out of my mouth so quick. Yeah, it was crazy.
I was walking down the steps and everyone's yelling, and I was like, "Why are they yelling?" Anthony's like, "Rue got picked." I was like, "Second by Sam."
But this is one of those ones. Like I know there's a lot of talk out there because I know a lot of people going, "Oh, Sam drafted Ridley," but I think this is a case of this proves that Sam and Rachel, they've been doing their research. They've been sort of scouting everyone. But Jacob, what are your thoughts about Amaru taking first before sort of a lot of the established OGs?
My initial reaction was, I feel so bad for the amount of pressure that's going to be on his shoulders now. That was my initial reaction because second overall draft pick, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of, okay, you've now got a lot to live up to. But at the same time, if there was anyone in this entire rookie class that was going to do it, it was him. So yeah. I think it's the smart choice. I do also subscribe to the theory that Sam was going to always get a Inner Geekdom first. It was either going to be you or it was Mara, but because Dungeon took Mara, you came in, and I think you would, but I do think you would have then gone probably either third or fourth. Like I think you were definitely in that first round. The way the way the draft ended up, where rookies were just everywhere, there were more rookies in the first round. And I think, if anything, you may have ended up at Finstock, but ended up the way it did.
You know what? Finstock is probably the one I felt I was not going to go to for my own reasons. And Craig, what's up, Craig? And it literally was. So on another after show, I had said that I figured Mara was going to the dungeon. Like everybody else was saying that there was a Star Wars player, like Dim Alonso was going to go first, and or another one of the Star Wars plays. I was like, nah, Dan's in there. Kaiser doubled up on IG Killers last year. He's going Mara. Like that makes the perfect sense to me. And it did not even cross my mind that I would be going next after that. I was like, all right, well then Star Wars will go number 2. And then anywhere from 3 on, especially as we got closer and I kept hearing my name, I was like, okay, I guess I probably will go first. Who picked 3rd again? I always forget that.
The Den, I believe.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. Also, Kate's going at it. Plus, the way she was saying my name on backstage, I was like, give me the neon sign anytime you do it. Fine. Anywhere from 3 on, I may hear my name, but 2 was not one of them. It was not in my thoughts at all.
Yeah.
Were you ever worried? Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, you can finish your question.
Were you ever worried about when you were doing your reaction of, okay, like we're running late, or was something that you missed because you weren't expecting to go in go second?
Actually, a slight bit. I have family who just moved here to where I'm at, and I was helping them out. And I was like, while doing that, watching the clock, like it's getting close. All right, I gotta go. And, if anybody, all these people know, when you send me a StreamYard to get on, I'm on like 2 minutes before every time.
Yes.
Like every time. I'm never late when it's not my own show. It's my show. I'm late. But anybody else's, I'm just right on time. And I was like, hopefully I don't go first or second. And then I thought, no, it's the Schmodown. They'll be talking for 30 minutes before any of the picks happen. So we're good.
Need to be exact.
But yeah, but Anthony, what are your thoughts on Amaru going sort of second overall?
I mean, it was awesome. Obviously, like a lot of us we're just kind of, all right, probably not. Maybe like second seems really high. I mean, obviously, I've played against him. I've talked to him a bunch. He knows all of his IG stuff better than anyone I've seen in a long time. But we were kind of like, all right, he's probably going to go later in the first. It's like we all thought Star Wars. And if you saw the reaction videos, we had like 12 people all on the thing at once that don't shut up. So it was difficult because we were like, all right, maybe he's probably not going to go. There was some talking, and then towards the end, we're like, all right, let's be quiet for a second. Then we heard his name. It's just like, holy shit, holy shit. And it was going nuts. She was upstairs. I'm screaming at her, like, get down.
Hey, there you go.
While I wait for them to cut.
And by oh no, I meant my internet's going to go down at this exact moment. Well, it was just like an awesome moment, and especially I was happy to like get to be a part of it with you, like to be there and see it with everybody, because it was great to see, and I'm super excited for you.
And the whole situation was just wild because no one knew. Like there was no heads up. Yo, Rue, you're getting picked. Like, be there. Like, pay attention. Like, all of this was no one knew.
Although right before the pick, Rue looked like he was in an NFL draft because he was sitting back and he's on his phone. And I was like, "Yeah, you getting calls? You getting picked? No."
So, can I ask, were any of you told by any managers, "Hey, I am going to pick you. If you fall to me, I am picking you"?
Not ahead of time. I was told. I was told afterwards.
Okay.
And I was given hints that like if available and at the spot they thought I would be around. So in my head at that moment I was like, okay, 4th, 5th round or 3rd, 4th round, whatever. They would want to pick me up, but it was all basically if you're available when we're looking for you, we want you. And I took that as, you're going to do a smart draft, pick up some veterans. shore that up and then go for us. Anybody reach out to you?
So Shannon was the only manager I'd really talked to. Oyama reached out from Swag, and Craig reached out because I think he talked to literally every single rookie and wrote the 5,000-page dossier that's going around or whatever. But that was it. But Shannon and I had very long and actual detailed conversations, and she was like, look, she actually said, I don't think you're going to fall to me, but if you do, I'm getting you. Like, so that was a little bit of comfort going in. And that's also why I kind of think my reaction was really subdued and like, you know, because I not that I expected it, but it was more, if anyone was going to, it was going to be her. And at that point I was like, okay. And then the initial shock of, oh my God, I've been drafted into the Schmodown came afterwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that being said, one question I actually have for you, Jacob, like Taylor's been drafted into the Finstock Exchange. Is that going to make things awkward?
Yes and no. At the moment, we're both studying in separate rooms. So last night she was in the bedroom and she was studying and going through movies and working the way she does. And I was literally sitting here on the couch, had my notebook and was just rewatching old matches and going through and trying to find and get data on myself. Like, what's my strength? What's my weakness? Like, and actually get statistical data about myself. And that's really the extent. Look, I'm going to be her biggest supporter when she's not playing Corruption. When she's playing Corruption, then to hell with her. But you know, it's going to make things very interesting when Finstock Exchange does play Corruption, because we're both going to have very different very different sides. But you know, I'm definitely trying to get Corruption their victory. So.
And last question I do have was for you, Christine. You're one of the few Fan League 4 which actually get to hang out with no one but Jacoby as on the same team as you. But how do you feel about that?
Oh my God, I'm so excited because I mean, Jacoby's the nicest person in the whole wide world. So like, I feel like I'm like going to be like his protector if like people are mean to my faction mate, because I don't care about other people's feelings. So don't come for my people. No, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. He's going to do such good things. I'm low-key hoping for a Janine Jacoby pairing, and I'm trying to see if I can make that happen. Because I got my boy Felix on there, and we're both math nerds, so I think we would be in the team.
And Anthony, how do you sort of feel now that Christina is going to get to compete now?
I mean, I think it's awesome. If I was going to sit here and say I'm not a tad jealous, that would be a lie, because I am. But her personality by far outshines mine, so she definitely deserves to be in there. I'm excited, and she basically I'm obviously going to help her in every way, shape, and form I can whenever she has a match to, you know, be in her corner, but outside of the showdown. I'm always there. So. And
at least you have that ability to actually be outside. Like, at least you have that ability where you're like, I don't have to put up a fake face that I'm like not supporting you.
I would be a fake face if I was in it. We straight up wouldn't support each other.
Oh yeah,
fair.
A very tall, towering shadow outside. Yeah. I saw a picture that Haley posted with you two in the background, and I was like, well, there they go, because there's Anthony and his 6 foot whatever. I'm sorry, it's the thing, Jacob. With
There's
me,
the only
all everybody else is
tallest person here.
So yeah, I look over a lot of people, and that's not hard to find a seat.
But yeah, I mean, the last question I have is, Jacob, Mike's Australian accent. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank it?
I'm gonna be nice. I'll give him a 6. Just, it wasn't. Look, everyone was really harsh on it. I didn't think it was that bad. I have heard a lot worse. I have absolutely heard a lot worse. Heard a lot better, but I've heard a lot worse. So I'm not gonna completely throw him under the bus. Just yeah.
Being nice, so that means he says 6, reality 4.
But with that being said, I'm going to run down each faction that is where it sits going into the start of the season. I'm going to start at the top of here. I've just been in a random order with the way I did it for free agency, but Dungeon has got Robert Parker, Dan Mill, Ben Bateman, Mara Knopic, Molly Damon, Video Drew, Whitney Seibold, Chris Jericho, Adam Rich, John Hoey, John Flickinger, and Chris Van Fleet. I think I pronounced that correctly. Jacob, what are your feelings about the Dungeons roster?
I think they had. I think their first 3 picks were really strong and fantastic. I think I think a lot of their picks were really good. I think they made the single biggest boneheaded move of the entire night, and I think, and also the move that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt, no one can ever bring it up again that Christian has any form of control over who gets drafted, because there is no way in hell Christian lets Kaiser draft Jericho, because now that's it. That entire marketability of Jericho being in the Schmodown is gone. It cannot happen because Kaiser just did that. So I think that was still one of the single biggest boneheaded moves that I've seen from anyone, because why does Roxy have to draft him? Like, make that trade. And that's what like, if we were talking, like, Winston getting Laura Kelly is different because Laura Kelly is a good player, and Shannon could potentially make a trade, and because there is value in that. Jericho's an 0-2 player who is more of a celebrity player. I don't know where the trade value in that is, personally.
Yeah, I agree, and I think he went too high. Like, if you won him, but like he was still going to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amaru, what are your thoughts on the Dungeon?
I was going to say you shouldn't even mention Jericho's name, because that's not happening. But there are not many factions that I would be like they didn't do very well. There's a lot more parity, I think, this year across the factions. And there's a lot of very interesting teams and competitors, just period. Knowing that Mara wants to go into Star Wars now means he technically has 4 potential Star Wars players. 3 with Mara's knowledge, 2.5 or 3 that are already known to be really good, and then I think John Hoey is Star Wars. I believe John Hoey is Star Wars.
I think that's what he's been saying. So,
but he's pretty stacked with a good amount of veterans that like have everybody knows can do well, but haven't been able to just break through and get like title shots or go on. It's a lot of people with a lot to prove. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah. Anthony, what are your thoughts on Dungeon faction for the year?
I mean, obviously, the first, like, his top 5 are really, really good, and they're obviously going to just get points where they go. I think, actually, my biggest pick here was Whitney Seibold. I actually really like that. I think he's underrated, and getting him is probably a really good pick. I thought he would go higher than he did. But that was the one that really kind of caught off to me. Obviously, Jericho that was just him just trying to piss off Roxy, I think, was the plan there. And it didn't really work. Kind of drastically backfired. But yeah, like the team's obviously very solid, especially when you look at the top few players that they have on there. So it looks like an interesting team. I mean, I can't say much about Star Wars because I know so little about Star Wars that I can't even tell you who's good other than like Laura Kelly, Molly Damon, and obviously Alex Damon.
Yeah. And Christina, what are your thoughts on the Dungeons faction?
I agree. I think Whitney was a steal. I think if you wanted Jericho, I just think he was too high. I think he still would have been there, so maybe you could have rearranged some of the draft order. But yeah, you look at the first 7 people that are on this roster, and they are dangerous across all 4 divisions. And yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like my thoughts on this, like like taking Mo when she's got a number contender shot is smart. Or total, she's got a total match. So it's Molly who's got the number contender shot. So he could potentially get 2 titles into his faction very soon. But it's one of those ones like the Jericho move. Was clearly a slight to Roxy, but part of me wonders if that's why he got Chris Van Fleet when he could, because maybe he thinks that if he gets him on board, that he can talk to Jericho and maybe convince him to play for him. I don't know, because I know Chris Van Fleet's another wrestling guy. But the one thing I'm going to say is Mara coming into Star Wars is one that I didn't know was ever on the cards, and it's one that it makes even more sense of why she went first, because it shows that Kaiser's been doing his research and knew that she was thinking about it. So, yeah. But next up, we're going to go on to Corruption. And Corruption has Adam Collins, Chance, Mike Karnowski, Marisol, Marky Detroit, Joseph Scrimshaw, Sean Sullivan, Jacob, Clee Wiggins, James Wright, Claudia, Dolph, and Dewberry. Anthony, what are your thoughts on Corruptions?
I mean, we already know that their top 4 are incredibly solid because they proved it already. I like Mark Hoyt. He's a strange individual, but he knows his stuff. So you can't really ever argue against that because the characters in here still can know their stuff. I'm not as familiar with some of them. I get Dewberry in the last round. I mean, he's there. He obviously has some skills that has been shown, and we'll see if his character takes it too far or not. And I actually really like the Scrimshaw pick because he was kind of sitting there, and I'm shocked he lasted that long as a Star Wars. I don't know much, but I remember him. I remember he was good.
Too. He was
so.
And Christina, what are your thoughts on Corruption?
Yeah, I love the Scrimshaw pick because, again, I don't know anything about Star Wars, but I like him. I'm interested to see him kind of like do the corruption, like dark side thing. I think that'll be fun. I heard Jacob Blunden's not very good, so I don't know why.
I wasn't even going to mention that guy.
He took my joke. He took it.
Seriously, that was such a boneheaded move. I don't know why on earth Shannon would do that. I really don't.
Amaru, what are your thoughts on Corruption?
I mean, we know what they can do with their top 4 up top. She got a lot of her players back. I'm also interested in Scrimshaw and how he's going to work with Shannon. He's going to work well because the dude's a beast. I'm actually more interested in how him and Sean Sullivan are going to study together because Sully is hungry as hell. And Scrimshaw is like one of the top ones, but he's been there so long. He's like, yo, I'm coming in. I'm doing my stuff. I win. I lose. But okay. And I can see Sean behind him like, nah, fam, moving here. What we doing here? So I'm really interested in that dynamic. It's going to be interesting. And the pimp, give the pimp some love. Don't give her a match 2 hours. Don't tell her about a match 2 hours before it's ready.
But Jacob, all bias aside, what are your thoughts on Corruption?
Biases aside, I actually do think they had a real. I think other managers really failed in making sure that Shannon didn't get her team back. She got 8 her Verve players back. That's okay. That I don't know. That's pretty bad. And then the ones she picked up, her biggest pickups were Joseph Scrimshaw and Sean Sullivan. That's pretty insane. Those are the.
Yeah.
So,
and
that guy.
Yeah.
But that also puts a lot of pressure on me as I'm the only rookie. But me aside, Sean Sullivan, I think, has serious potential to be one of the biggest dark horses in this entire league next year. And with having the family group that Shannon is able to cultivate, I think is going to help him beyond measure. And I really do think Sean Sullivan is going to become a very scary force within the Star Wars League. And I think a lot of people were sleeping on him. The fact that he dropped to round 5 is disgusting. It's shocking. And I can't believe no other manager went, yeah, we're going to grab him before then.
But that's kind of been the story. That was the story of the whole draft, though. There were so many like rookies and just so many potential draftees in general, a lot of people went a lot farther or a lot later than was thought.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked if he is. And I know he is genuinely pissed off at how much he fell, and he gone dark side, guys. Like, this is we're about to see an angry Sean Sullivan, and that is scary. That's going to be very scary, and I am so excited for it because I think he is a bloody talented player who studies extremely hard, and I cannot wait to see him absolutely crush and destroy it in Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, last year we saw an angry Laura Kelly in The Corruption, so now we can see an angry Sean.
All right, guys, I have a heart out. I do need to head off, but thank you so much for letting me on the show, and I cannot wait to see all of you guys in the Schmodown, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to go up against some of you at some day. So, yeah.
Do you have anything you want to plug before you go?
Guys, just Twitter and Facebook at Jacob Blunden, and Instagram and my letterbox, that's where I'll do my movie reviews, and you can see what movies I'm studying. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Follow right now.
That's why I don't do letterbox.
Well, because I'm not going to write reviews, but
I mean, I always, if I have to write something for something, I just don't post it for a while.
But yeah, with that being said, like, my thoughts on Corruption is like Joseph and Sean. Is a dangerous duo when they've got both of them studying together, and it's one of those things when you look at just about all the factions this time around, because with the expansion to 12, you've actually got more than one Star Wars player, so you can actually get them studying together if possible. Because like last season, every faction only really had one good Star Wars player in each faction, so whether or not that affected their games and that, but I don't know. But yeah. But moving on, next one we have the Stars. Which
worst last pick of a draft ever. Second to last pick. Sorry, her last pick was great. Second to last pick.
But with that, we've got Mark and Draco, Jeff Snyder, Alex Damon, Brandon Hanna, Zach Burkett, Janine the Machine, Jacoby Bancroft, Felix Mort, Ken Jack, Jeff Lowe, Christina V, and Brittany Young. Amaru, what are your thoughts on the Stars?
Man, so I'll get this one out of the way. They had the most surprising pick of the day. I legit did not think Hannah was getting picked first on anybody's squad. Maybe they know a lot that we don't know or whatever. Though he's had a long time to study and get up. So hey, I just wasn't expecting Hannah to be anybody's first. But yeah, Christina's right. Jacoby and Janine together not only would be hella entertaining, but would be ridiculously good because their compliments and the ability to work together would be damn good. I low-key think Felix is going to be a legit player just based off of what I've seen of him. I know nothing of the Barstool guys, so whatever. And just the fact that Christina's going to be behind every single one of them to scare the crap out of all of us and then go beat the number of people we decidedly said, wait, no, she can beat that person. She can beat that person after. Roxy had a really good draft, and she has one of the only proven celebrity players who like know their things consistently, like in a consistent way with consistent matches, and just have shown that knowledge. So I again, another faction who I think is done really well. I've heard great things about Zach Burkett, but I don't know. So
yeah, I mean, I know, but this is the Stars is going to be interesting because I talked to Zach last week on the show actually, and Zach is good friends with Alex Damon because he's one of the Dragon Con players that in this draft. So So Roxy's definitely playing her cards right, knowing that, well, if Zach ever gets a chance against Alex for the title, then it stays in the stars no matter what. But it's just one of those ones. This is a great pick. Like Jacoby, Christina, are great players. I mean, I don't know much about like Felix and the Barstool guys, but she wouldn't have drafted them if she didn't think they were great players, and that's facts. Anthony, what are your thoughts on the stars?
You know, there's my obvious joke earlier because she's wonderful. I like a lot of the draft. I think Janine is one of the best picks she has because Janine falling that low is just wrong. She's a great player. I think she just gets unlucky at times, and with Roxy, the way she can help like Snyder and Andrenko get out of a funk, she can help Janine, especially in that round 3. That would be awesome, and I would love to see her and Jacoby because I just think that'd be so much fun. Jacoby's great. He is the nicest guy in the families. It used to be Rue, but then he made fun of me for 1917 too much, so now he is off that list. Done. And obviously, I'm excited for Christina to get in there to give it a shot. I've seen her manage. She managed me, and she has the fire. She has passion. I know she's going to work hard. And honestly, like don't know too much about Felix, but she's been talking to me a little bit, obviously, because talking a little bit back and forth. I'm excited if they get paired up because, like she said, they're math nerds. I'll give her a few unsexy numbers. I can do that. But I'm excited for that. Like you guys said, I don't know much about the Barstool guys, but they are friends. They work together, so probably easier to study together. But I actually saw that as the last pick, and she was like, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh, it's this one. She's real good. She's a solid pick."
Yeah, Christina, all boss aside, but what are your thoughts on the rest of your squad?
Obviously, we're the best faction, and we're going to win. But Jacoby was a steal when she got him because he was getting a little overlooked. And we were doing like our promotions. Jacoby couldn't come to a lot, and he didn't really talk as much as we did sometimes. So like Peggy had the story, Rue and I have our personalities, and like Jacoby has his personality, but like he wouldn't always show it. So I felt like when we were doing our promotions, Jacoby was kind of getting like overlooked a little, but I think this is working out to his favor because I don't think people really know what he's capable of. And I think the fact that he fell where he did puts him at such an advantage of who he's going to get to play. And he's about to like ruin people's lives because he's so good. And I'm so excited. And I really hope he can get with Janine because she's like 3-5 pointers away from having a completely different record of being, and I'm just over people like trashing her. So I love that she's on my team so that way I can just come at all the trolls that want to hate on me.
Plus, Jacoby is looking mad dapper from that.
Yeah, I mean, look at this picture.
This?
I'm excited. And Felix, I love the way, and this is like my math nerd, I love the way Felix is approaching the game. Like he's getting like hardcore, like Moneyball, like strategy. Like what other ways can we play the game besides just answering trivia questions? Like anybody can study. So what is the analytics? What are different strategies we can use toward the game? And I think that'll be a big game changer as well.
Yeah. But with that, move on. We're going on to Swag. And in Swag, they've got Paul Oyama, Chandru, Lon Harris, Eric Zippard, Laura Kelly, Ace, Vinny Mancuso, Haley Fouch, Jen Kemp, John Harris, Bradley Tingle, Frank Moran. My thoughts on Swag is they've got a lot of great players in here. The fact they managed to get Laura Kelly and how she fell so low in this draft, even with the fact she's got a number one contender shot guaranteed, is weird. But so I'm glad someone chose to pick her up, and so she didn't end up falling to Shannon. So she's got another one for the squad. But yeah, with this one, one thing I loved about the draft is they got the Professor Lon Harris to introduce the pick for Swag when they picked up John, and it is just amazing. I really want to see if Lon's going to every now and then compete in a match in his Professor attire and be like Mick Foley and be two different personalities. But I don't know much about Bradley. He's probably the only one I don't really know a lot about in this lot. But yeah, Amaru, what are your thoughts on Swag?
I've been hearing all week or since the draft. This is the complete opposite of what he did last year. He only has one rookie, and due to the shave cream, Tingle. No idea who he is. Sorry, I don't know that man. But again, he also has a very consistent squad. Like, he's got Zipper back. Haley Fouch is she's not a slouch at all. Laura and Ace being able to study together. I truthfully though, I do think if he wants to compete again, the crew he had on the back end is gonna have to do a lot better than they have last year. Vinny, Jen, John, Moran, I think they kind of just came up on the short end of some people doing extremely well against them. So if not, then it's going to have to be the top half of the crew that's going to have to carry them if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, and Stephen, like I didn't say that I think he's going to go back to being the professor full time. I think he's going to play both characters alternate. But Christina, what are your thoughts on Swag?
Dude, I don't know if Winston goes to Vegas a lot, but he is a gambling man. Because with his first pick, I definitely thought he was going to scoop Laura Kelly right then and there. I think Zipper is very good, and I think he has potential to be great. I wouldn't have picked him first because I feel like Laura Kelly would have been the obvious choice. And then I feel like, I mean, we were even saying that night, we were like, dude, how is nobody picking Ace? So, like,
yeah, that was weird.
I mean, Winston really, really gambled, and it paid off because he still wound up getting Laura Kelly and he still wound up getting Ace. So it wound up, working out in his favor. But I was definitely surprised as to where he let players fall in hopes of getting them instead of just snatching them up when he had a chance. I'm hoping for big things from Haley because she's fantastic. And she was in the New York live event, and you could just tell, like, she knows her stuff. The crowd, it's just, if that's an overwhelming setting, and she played Ethan Irwin. I mean, oh dear, so that's
what you could do there.
I would have just been like, I'm here, guys. I'm just gonna write random stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't even known an answer. I would have just been like, I'm so nervous. I'm playing against Ethan in front of a huge crowd. So, like, here's my whiteboard. So,
Yeah.
but, like, she held her own. She made it all. I think she made it to her 5-pointer. So, like, she has a lot of potential. But I definitely think Winston gambled a lot with this roster.
Oh, I mean, by leaving Ace on the board for that long is definitely a big gamble. And it's one of those ones that I do think Winston probably talked to Ace going, look, I probably won't, I'm not going to draft you first. I'm going to leave you on board, see if anyone else ends up taking you. I'm going to, and then, but if you're still available, I will take you. So I've got these ones I want to get first. So, but Anthony, what are your thoughts on Swag?
Yeah, what everyone's saying is accurate. Like, I feel like I hope he talked to Ace before that because that's kind of a crushing thing if he goes and gets other people and he was his boy. But I feel like they probably did. I don't think Winston's just going to put him to the side and then pick him up and hope that he's going to be cool with it. I actually really liked him picking Zipper first. I think that was cool. That was just, it's kind of even like whether it's the all kayfabe real fake that they really just had that falling out. It's nice that he's back on the team because I'd like them together, and I think Winston is just a manager with Zipper is even going to make Zipper better because he does have a lot of skills, and he kind of just got hit on a couple bad rounds here and there that made him lose the field. Like she said, Haley's great. I always like watching her. I think she'll be interesting to play with, and I'm actually just sitting here kind of curious who Zip and like Vinny would team up with, if they would team up because they seem very different, or if Harris would pair up with one of them. I don't know. So that's kind of interesting. That would be fun to kind of figure out. But I like a lot of his picks. And I mean, Winston he's a good dude. He gambled, but he got what he wanted. So that's.
I think Zip and Fouch are going to be the team. Whenever that happens.
Oh yeah, but, they were a team once before when it was Anarchy, I believe. So that could be interesting if they reunite as a team. But yeah, Vincent, I really love his theatrics. I do admit I got a little bit lost about where he was going when he had the ice tray in his hand when he was announcing Vinny Mancuso. I was like, where are you going with this? Was oh yeah, it's the ice pick. That's
It all comes together.
But talking about quirky people, we're going to move on to the quirky mercs. But we've got Brendan Meyer, William Bibiani, Kevin Smith, Andrew DeMolanta, Eric Whiteley, Jesse Swift, Perry Nemiroff, Beth May, Josh Horowitz, Greg Alba, Sabrina Ramirez, and John Humphrey. Anthony, what are your thoughts on the quirky mercs group?
I mean, there's a lot of rookie talent on here, or I guess a few that I just don't know much about. They're very. I mean, they obviously fit the profile of quirky mercs, like Jesse Swift and Beth May. They fit that profile perfectly. They will fit in this faction perfectly. I don't know too much about the skill level. I'm very happy he got the real rejects back. I'm kind of surprised that they went as late as they did. Like, John Humphrey made it really far in a free-for-all. Like, I think he made it the most
He was
thing
the
through
MVP
MVP of the year. And he knows his stuff, and so does Greg Alba. So kind of them staying on the board is shocking to me.
I think the only reason would be just they're busy.
Yeah.
It has to be that they're busy, and people know that they might not be able to play as much as they would want them to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if that's it, then that makes sense. But good for Coy to get them back because I'm happy they're a team, and I really think they're both good. So that's kind of a steal to get them that late. And he already has such a solid 2 starters at the beginning, and getting Andrew DeMolata is going to help his cause a lot, I think, coming up.
Yeah, but yeah, this is one of those ones like when the draft started, you had all the people from Blind Wave, fans of Blind Wave going, oh, everyone should draft Eric and all that. It's like, it got to the point, it's like, I really hope someone drafts Eric so I can stop hearing his name.
So,
So,
yo, like I had my family on there, and they kept seeing that, and I kept getting texts. Who the F is this Eric guy? And should I say F Eric in the chat? I was like, please don't. They're gonna boot you. Don't do that. Do not do that.
But yeah, I mean, I have just watched a few of Blind Wave content just since then. I know Christina, if Christina was here, she'll have great Lost conversations because they really have a lot of Lost content on that on Blind Wave. But yeah, Christina, what are your thoughts on the quirky mercs?
I love Perry Nemiroff, so I'm so excited that she's back on the mercs because I feel like this might be her year for her to come out as like one of the strong women contenders because she gets better and better every time she plays. I think sometimes the nerves still get to her. I think Sabrina had a tough showing last year, and I think I know that there was a lot of people that were a little harsh to her online, but honestly, I think that thickened her skin a little bit, and I think she's going to come back with a little bit of a vengeance. So I think she's definitely somebody to look out for. And I don't know if you guys have heard, but Jesse Swift got drafted. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but supposedly he's really into the Schmodown. I'm just doing my heel work already.
Just getting started.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Jesse myself. Just I've seen him on a few of the interviews and all that. So
You.
All of them.
I mean, I think I was one of the ones that I saw Jesse getting reached out to just be everywhere. I was like, yeah, I'll go reach out to some people who haven't really got a chance to shine. But with that being said, Amaru, what are your thoughts on the quirky mercs?
So I think he and Beth May are going to have a lot to prove because Beth was the one that got a lot of attention in the Facebook group, right?
Yeah.
And then Jesse took all the attention afterwards. I actually have talked to him a good amount. I kind of have had a slight relationship with him coming into it. Dude's going to work. That I know. He as much work as he's putting in to getting his name out there. Fam went from not really known to being drafted 3rd by the mercs. And that's the work he was putting in, just getting his name out there. So, and I know he's going to put in the work to be able to compete. So that at least I know, as much as he's putting his name out there. If he does that as much as he studies, he's gonna be all right. The Real Rejects had the moment of the year last year with the Cuckoo's Nest entrance, taking off the mask. That was the most hilarious thing of the entire last year. I am so glad they're back. It is absolutely crazy. Kevin Smith is also consistent, but again, celebrity. He did play Jericho first. Sorry, Jericho, but I mean, yeah. And then he played. Let's just move on from that. So I want to see what Kevin Smith does. How often he can play, and what he does when we get a little bit harder questions. But Dimbalanta with Shazam is a pretty doggone good 1-2 punch, and technically 1-2-3 punch when you consider singles. And I'm very interested in Eric. As much as we heard his name at the beginning, I'm very interested in what he's going to do. So,
yeah, but yeah, Sabrina being picked by the Query Merc, that kind of makes the Brandon Hanna Sabrina video from just Spectacular kind of redundant now, because they're in separate factions, so they can't be the power couple that they were claiming to be. But so that's all. I was probably not going to go anywhere, but they may spread out to the other one. But with that being said, we're going to move on into the next one. FinSoc Exchange, they did something.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got John Roker, the Barbarian, JTE, Griffin Newman, Gold Leader Evan Bushka, Mark the Moose Haas, Ty Lieberman, Brother Lomas, Rick Raddis, Jeffrey King Khan, Kim Taylor Foster, and Taylor Robinson. Christina, what are your thoughts on the FinSoc Exchange?
I'm going to say that I know Craig put in a lot of work. And I trust that Craig knew what he was doing as far as, I think Craig literally spoke to everybody. I think Craig truly went and kind of figured out people's personalities, their knowledge, quizzed people, and really tried to figure out what people knew, personalities, how they would work together. I think drafting all rookies is still pretty risky because, yeah, you can give somebody a quick assessment and they can answer all the questions correctly, but I don't know how that pertains necessarily to in-match play. I don't really play a lot of sports, so I don't know, can you have a banging tryout and then still not do well? I don't know. I danced, so I just kind of went to dance class. So going all rookies, I think is definitely a gamble. The fact that there were no men or no women announced on air, I know was not always was not the best look. But I will say that I really enjoy Rick Raddis a lot. Rue and I got to meet him, or the real him. Really nice person. I think he's going to bring a lot of fun to the league. I'm curious to know why Brother Lomas was living in Pleasantville, so I'm excited to see if he was the color. But yeah, other than that, I don't really know much about this other than the three vets because they went all rookies. So I'm excited to see what they're all doing.
Yeah, this is I talked to Evan last week as well. He's got a great personality. I don't know much about his knowledge, but he claims to be good in Star Wars. I can't remember. I can't remember. I think someone was saying on another after show that he was doing a Star Wars trivia competition, called himself Gold Leader, and then but Law Kelly thought it was someone else. That's why it was Thomas Harper, because Thomas Harper was saying that he saw Evan playing some Star Wars trivia and the name Gold Leader, and he was reached out by Law Kelly asking if that was him, but it wasn't. It was this other guy, so he must have some knowledge in Star Wars. But yeah, this is aside from this is one that I really don't know much about. We know Taylor, she's competed once before, but for some reason she's still classed as a rookie for some reason. and apparently Griffin Newman is actually a working actor, so that's which I actually looked up.
He's on the
but
Tick.
yeah.
He's Arthur.
Nice.
I've never seen the Tick.
What? It's fantastic.
But Anthony, what are your thoughts on the Finstock exchange?
Yeah, that was a lot of every time I made a pick, I was like, who that? Like, who was that one? Who was that guy? I mean, I know, like, just knowing the family four, I know Craig reached out to a lot of people. I've talked to him a few on a couple shows. He's a great guy. I know he did his work. So he probably knows some stuff. So maybe there's some background information that a lot of us are not privy to, and this team can show up. But it's kind of one of those that we're going to have to see. I've heard a lot of stuff from other people about Griffin Newman that not only is he a working actor, someone's like, Griffin Newman, like, that sounds familiar. I was like, oh, he's Arthur from The Tick on the Amazon Prime series. I really like that show. And he was great in it. So I can't wait to watch that. But I heard he's really good. Like, he apparently has a podcast, does a lot of stuff, knows a lot about movies. And other than that, I've seen some of their promos on the Schmodown page. That's the extent of my knowledge about most of the other people here. I don't know the skill level, so that's something I guess we'll find out when the season starts.
Yeah, I like to compare Tom's strategy in this drafting season to Kaiser's strategy from last year. Just going all over the place on rookies. So,
yeah.
But as Stephen said, this can go one or two ways. They could all be really good and they can crush it, or they could just be Kaiser and fail and end up having to pick first. So it's definitely one of those two options. But Amu, what are your thoughts on Finstock?
So even before he called me the worst pick in the draft, I always believed that Craig should have front and center of this, and Dagnino shouldn't even have a picture. Because we know this was Craig. This was not Tom. They can say it was Tom. I highly doubt it. But because of Craig, because of Barbarian, I do not doubt the majority of his picks. I know he went into it. I've heard nothing but good things about Griffin Newman. And I watched Jeffrey Kahn last night on POV, and dude seemed ready. He said he got 7 out of 7 in the backstage one, that I only got 3, and then I should have got Hotel Rwanda. My brother and I are still mad about that. But he said he did that, and he looked mad comfortable. So I'm really interested to see how he does and how much he can back that up. Seems like he might be able to, and based off of Craig's work, I believe in that, not the other one.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on, we're going to go on to the Den. The Den has got Paul Preston, Ben Goddard, Thomas Harper, Alonso Duralde, Sol, Mark Riley, Peggy Gubbins, Jada Paramo, Lacey Gilliwan, David Del Rio, Jessica Sloth, and grossly overlooked Rachel Silverstreet. Like her going that low is almost an
travesty.
Yeah. And I know that there's a lot of people go, oh, she's never good season last year. It's like, it shouldn't matter. Everyone has unlucky seasons. She could have great potential for a great comeback player of the year this year. So, but Amu, what are your thoughts on the Den?
I feel like the Den might have had the second best draft. And there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Half her squad has the potential to be comeback player of the year. Like, that's how many people on her crew are that good. Like, imagine a Duralde and Riley team. Imagine Peggy backing up and filling in the gaps of any of these people. Like, that is crazy good. Saul is – I remember watching his IG match. I'm like, man, you kind of just got screwed in that second round, man, and he was really good. David Del Rio is really good. Silverstream is really good. I didn't realize Jader had 2 perfect rounds in the basically in the match he lost to Tom because he got opponent's choice. And Paul Preston is the guy I just think has had the most unlucky year start to Schmodown ever. Like, that dude is crazy good.
Yeah.
And just somehow keeps losing, and it makes no sense. So yeah. But you got Peggy, so come on.
Peggy.
Peggy G.
Yeah. And yeah, as much as I think we're probably going to get the Pride back with Rachel and Ben teaming up, I kind of would like to see Kate break them up and do Rachel and Peggy as a team. I think that could be dangerous.
Me too, and I hope that happens. Not that we have any say in this, but Kate, if you're watching, help my girl.
Yes.
But Christina, what are your thoughts about the den?
So I would like to point out that, again, we were on a Zoom call with about 12 other people, and, we like to talk, and Kate just basically came up and was like, Peggy Gubbins, get on my team. So we didn't hear it at all.
Nope.
So, by the time everybody was like, shh, she's about to talk, she was done talking. And then Mark Ellis was like, oh, Peggy Gubbins to the den. And we were like, ah. So, Peggy was the 20th overall pick. Rue went second, Peggy went 20th, and then, Jacoby and I eventually were remembered that we were supposed to. But we were like, holy crap. Because, that was, the craziest part of the night of, you had no idea who was going to get you, when it was going to happen. You could not go to the bathroom because you didn't know. You had no idea because we all got drafted by people that we didn't talk to a lot. The 3 people I spoke to the most did not draft me. Not necessarily that they didn't want me. I didn't follow them, whatever their reasoning is. But so anything could happen. So Peggy on this team is great. The fact that Rachel, her name wasn't said on screen is horrible. And I hope that she comes back with a vengeance and just starts ripping people apart. Because at this point, the league deserves it because she's spectacular. And I'm excited. This is actually a very good squad. David Del Rio, I just really like him. I don't even care if he's good at trivia. I think he's just he seems like a really fun, nice person. And I just enjoy watching him.
He's so really good. Great at Pitch Perfect.
Yeah. And I think Paul Preston's going to kill it. So.
Yeah. And Anthony, what are your thoughts on the den?
I just looked at this and I was like, man, I'm just looking at the first 2 rows, and I'm like, that is just a murderer's row right there. Murderer's rows, I guess. They're fantastic. Mark Riley he's always a good player. He had a rough year, and he can come back really strong in teaming up with any of these people. Everyone has already said it. Rachel being last is an absolute travesty. She should have had her name said, should have been earlier on. And Peggy and Rachel would be an awesome team. I would love to watch that.
Apparently, this Thomas Harper guy is supposed to be excellent at Star Wars.
We didn't mention Thomas Harper. What the hell? We didn't mention Thomas Harper.
Yeah.
If you want to go back to Thomas Harper, you can go back.
No, it's just I'm just pointing that out. I completely
right. That's how stacked this team is.
Right.
I know everybody's saying dungeon, but it might be the den.
Right. And everyone already said it. All these players are really good. I know Peggy and Rachel will be great. It might be a stretch to put them with the rookie, but watching Paul and Peggy on a team together would be wonderful and hilarious and would be ridiculously entertaining. I think that would be a lot of fun. And the Lacey girl, she was on a stream right before Jacoby, so we were watching, and I was like, oh, she's wonderful. She seems super nice. Seems like she's going to have a lot of fun with this. So I actually kind of look forward to seeing her play. It seems like she knows her stuff, and she will really enjoy being a part of this. But, man, that's a good team. And Peggy, she's my teammate. She's fantastic.
Yeah, it's it's what prompted me to start up a support group for people who've lost their teammates to this road because you've got Tony who's now just lost Jacoby, you've got Anthony,
you've got Aaron, you got the other Aaron, and the fan leagues were deprived of sexual chocolate, which I'm so sad about.
I'm a little upset. I didn't want to play you, but I'm upset that team doesn't exist.
Oh, sexual chocolate.
But yeah, Kate's squad is stacked because from what I remember, Thomas has been touted as one of the only people that have actually defeated Alex at DragonCon. So
no,
we'll get to it. We'll get to it later. But go ahead.
But with that, we go move on to the usual suspects. We've got Liz Shannon Miller, Ethan Irwin, Drew McReady, Amaru, Marie Wilson, Stacey Howard, Jacob Brittman, Paul Walter Hauser, Frankie Alvarez, Paige Fabetti, Nikki DiMolanta, and Doug Benson. I probably butchered a lot of those names, but Anthony, what are your thoughts on the usual suspects?
I mean, best first pick of the draft. Fine.
They picked our boy second overall.
Number 2 overall. That's fantastic. And when obviously they've done the research to pick a rookie, IG rookie, number 2 overall means they clearly watched some tape. I've seen Rouge tape. He knows a ridiculous amount of geek stuff, and it makes me sad
Rachel
sometimes.
Cushing
I
was
just don't know
part of
anything.
the decision making. Like Rachel Cushing doesn't know what she's talking about. Please, people.
Yeah, if you got Rachel Cushing making decisions and go there, that's saying something. And then looking at the rest of the team, I mean, you already have a solid starting 3. You get Stacey Howard. Stacey Howard's wonderful. I think she's great, and she will be able to team up with someone really well. I don't know a lot about Paul Hauser, but I feel like he knows his stuff. I really just want to watch Doug Benson play a match because he entertains the crap out of me.
Oh, maybe I'll play him.
Please, can you play Doug Benson? That would make me so happy.
No, don't do that. Don't do that because I'm gonna have to root against her. But do that because that would be an amazing match.
Oh, I will literally sit in the back of the room. Like you'll see a shadow because I'm just going to watch the match from the room. There's no way I'm leaving.
So wait, Christina, you're not allowed to have anyone in the room. And I'll be like, I'm sorry. He won't talk. I'll duct tape his mouth.
That's a mannequin back there. That's a mannequin. It's not a real person.
Yeah, it's not real.
But Christine, what are your thoughts on the usual suspects?
Obviously the first 4 are the best. And then there's a lot of people in here that I don't know. Frankie Alvarez is cool. We met him. He seems like to know his stuff. I love Stacey. But I feel like Sam and Rachel together know this game very well. And I feel like their decisions were very well informed. So yeah, maybe from the outside looking in, we don't know a lot about them. Similar to like Finstock Exchange, we don't know a lot about these players. But I believe that they do and that they knew what they were doing putting this together. And I even think Rachel put out a tweet of the resume of her players. This, maybe right up front, it doesn't look scary, but I definitely think that it's scary because people are going to be sleeping on a lot of these players just because we don't know enough about them. But, Rue's going to kill it, so that's really all that matters.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah, Amaru, what are your thoughts on the usual suspects?
This is total bias. I'm not putting any bias aside whatsoever. Miss Boss Lady said it herself. Put some respect on our man Sam's name. 2 former belt holders, 1 bolt of lightning, the sassiest and savviest of OG players, the so-called number 1 rookie IG prospect, whatever on that one. 1 of 3 highly touted and probably the hungriest of the Dragon Con players, who I also believe beat Alex Damon in Marie. 4 rookies who were talked about a lot, cover all 4 divisions. 2 of them I've already talked to a lot, getting study sessions ready. Paul Walter Hauser, really hungry, and then Doug. 1 Doug, and 5 of our squad is women.
Yep.
And half, and a third, a half, the strong woman behind the strong man, whatever you want to call it, and Rachel Cushing with Sam Levine, 2 of the greatest minds in Schmodown. I mean, I don't care if we're slept on, sleep on us, we're coming. Period.
I'd rather be slept on, to be honest, and come out swinging than for people to assume greatness.
But yeah, this is just this is just a bunch of greatness in this squad. Because even with Ethan Irwin, Drew, Liz, Amaru, Marie, it's definitely one of those ones that are a really strong squad. I did invite Sam on. He just hasn't got back to me, but it's it's one of those ones I've invited him on to talk about this as well. But but this is one that I think this is the squad that could do some damage and has the chance to take corruption down and stop them from winning a second year in a row. But this is one of those ones any of these factions could, as I said earlier, even the Finstock Exchange, all rookies. They could be all great and take it down. So this is just one of those ones. But I mean, it's one of those ones. The fact that Rue gets to hang out with Paul Walter Hauser makes me jealous a little bit because I do love him in I, Tonya. It's just one of those ones when you get a working actor wanting to play trivia, it's always a big bonus. But that being said, we've reached the end of the show. Amaru, do you have anything you want to plug?
Just search for me everywhere. You'll find my name. You'll find Bite Size. You'll find reviews. IG, Twitter, and Facebook. If you follow me, you'll see all those things. Then follow those.
And One Gotta Stay.
Yes. One Gotta Stay is gonna be back on Monday. I believe tomorrow or Wednesday. I'll put up the video of what the 4 choices are. My hint was they are franchises. So yeah, that's all I'll say for now.
The last thing I do have to say, I don't know when the matches are going to start back up. I think the first set of matches is the pay-per-view with...
Yes, the 19th.
So yeah, that was the last thing I did mean to actually do. So we've got Laura versus Molly, and then we've got Mara versus Chandru. Amaru, who do you think will win out of Laura Molly? Laura Molly or Mara Chandru.
I cannot pick for the Mara Chandru just because Mara's been out so long. And that could be a good thing or a rest thing because she's been able to get past whatever health issue she has to be able to ready to play. So she might have a lot of rest, a lot of time to study without the pressure. And Chandru is great. He is one defense away from me believing he's the best active player. I still think that's Parker, just because I know him from bangs and stuff. Even though he hasn't shown it, I still have not seen anybody better consistently than Parker. But if Chandru defends that, I'm going to have to probably hand that over to him. With the Molly and Laura fight, though, I think they're both hungry. But I saw what Molly did and the look she gave me when I told her I'd take the championship belt if I had 60 days to study, which is not true. I think Molly's taking it.
Christina, who do you have between Laura and Molly, and who do you have between Mara and Chandru?
I mean, I know nothing regarding Star Wars. So I'm just going to pick Molly because I think she's wonderful and I really enjoyed talking to her on a certain point of view. And I'm going to go Mara on this one. I mean, that girl, she's a brown dwarf star for a reason. She was pretty unstoppable in her run, and I don't think that just goes away. Plus, we got a little girl power on this one. I'll be biased.
But Anthony, who do you have between Laura and Molly and Mara and Chandru?
All right, well, I have the same situation as her, as I know very little about the Star Wars. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say Laura because, I mean, why not?
She was also very nice to you when you hung out with her, right? Yeah, that was my reasoning.
That one time I was on the thing. Yeah, we'll go with that. She was very nice. I'll just go with that. I know they're both really good. It should be a good match. The other side, I feel like that's tough because, like Bruce said, she's been gone a long time. But is that going to help or hurt? I honestly think it might help because if you're going to have Dan also trying to get into the IG thing, you have also all the help there that she can get and they can study together. I feel like that's going to give her that little extra bit, and all this time off might just, put everything back in place, and she's going to come in hungry and ready to go. So I'll give it to Mara to change it up, even though that should be going to the final question, I would imagine.
But yeah, for me, this is tough because I know Molly and Laura are both really great. But I'm going to have to go slightly to Laura because I know Laura is going to want to have something that she wants to prove, just for the fact that of the way she lost in the tournament. Although in saying that, Molly is hungry too, so it's going to be interesting. I kind of want to have a Damon versus Damon. And if Matt Damon ever joins the Star Wars division, then have a triple threat Damon match. But for Mara and Chandru, I'm going to go Mel on this. I think even though she has been out for a year. I think she was using year to study up and filling up any gap she could, because she knew this match was coming. And I think she's hungry to get that belt and take it back to the dungeon. But yeah. Christina, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yes, and this is for Aaron because he'll be excited. New episode of Digesting Cinema just went up, so we are talking about 2000's Ocean's 11. So listen to that, check that out, find out what we're picking for 2010s next week. Woo-hoo. And then follow me on Twitter at Christina_VEE19.
And Anthony, we can be find you online.
I'm also on Twitter, but I do literally nothing there under Getting Tizzy, Tizzy, because why not? Also, you'll find me on, I have a show, working title, on Opening Night Trivia League, which Rue was just on in one of the best episodes I have ever had. That was so much fun and hilarious. It was Rue and Jacoby. So that was fantastic. There's another one Thursday, and something anybody can do. So that's always fun. Malcolm, you did one as well. I always enjoyed having you on. I hope you have you on again soon.
And you can find me on Take 3 hosting the Reactors Summit every week. This may move to a different day, but I am quite excited that yet. You can find me hosting Late Night Take 3 when I decide to bring that back. And I also do Rankum, which is going to be top 12 Schmodown matches of all time. So it's going to be tough. I'm going to get assemble a great crew for that. And you can find me over on the Full Metal side. We are host Full Metal Classic, which is on Sundays, and Full Metal Random, which is actually not going to be on this week, but next week we go into Disney animated match. And Christian Half, if you're watching, make Jacoby versus Stacey Howard in a Mummy exhibition match happen.
Oh, I love the Mummy.
And Amaru apparently wants in too.
Come on.
But with that being said,
I can't play Jacoby. I can't do that.
No.